The Vryn colony ship was a mountain floating in space. It stretched for kilometers in every direction, a massive organic structure that pulsed with alien life. Billions of drones moved through its corridors. Thousands of warrior breeds protected its vital systems. And at its heart sat the Grand Queen, the mother of all swarms in this sector. Admiral Nari studied the ship from her bridge. Around her, 50 human warships maintained formation. They looked tiny compared to the colony vessel, like wolves circling a bear. "Scan complete," her tactical officer reported. "We have mapped the internal structure. The Grand Queen is located 17 kilometers inside in the central breeding chamber." 17 kilometers through hostile territory, Nari said quietly, "with billions of defenders." "Yes, Admiral." "Acceptable," Nari decided. "Launch boarding pods. All teams execute entry protocol. 600 humans loaded into assault pods. These were not like the individual drop pods used on planets. These were hardened penetrators designed to punch through armor and hull material. Each one carried 20 soldiers and their equipment. Yunwoo checked his team one final time. Youngsu was loading his heavy weapons with practiced efficiency. Daeon was synchronizing her communication jammers. Sumin was organizing medical supplies and psychological warfare tools. "Everyone remembers the plan?" Hyunwoo asked. "Get in. Kill the queen. Get out," Youngsu said cheerfully. "Simple." "Nothing about this is simple," Daeun corrected. "But we have done worse." They had. Earth's history included operations in equally hostile environments. Tunnels filled with enemies. Structures designed to be indestructible. Opponents who fought with suicidal dedication. Humans had faced them all and won. Not through superior firepower, but through superior tactics and absolute ruthlessness. "Launch in 30 seconds, the pilot announced. Hyunwoo activated his communicator. "All teams, remember. We are not here to fight. We are here to execute. Every second we waste fighting is a second the Queen lives. Move fast, kill anything in your path. Do not stop until the objective is complete." The boarding pods launched. They streaked across space, tiny missiles aimed at the massive colony ship. The Vryn noticed them, of course. The ship's biological weapons systems activated, firing streams of acid and organic projectiles. 3 pods were destroyed. 60 humans died instantly. The rest continued forward without slowing. "Acceptable losses," Nari said coldly from her bridge. "All teams proceed." On Meridian Station, the entire council watched on sensor feeds. They saw the pods impact the colony ship's hull, saw them drill through organic armor, saw them disappear inside. "They are in," the sensor operator whispered. Inside the ship, hell erupted. The humans exploded from their pods into corridors packed with Vryn drones, but they did not try to fight through them. They used weapons specifically designed for this scenario. Youngsu fired his weapon down the corridor. The air turned silver with microscopic particles. Every Vryn that breathed them in started dissolving from the inside. Their organs liquefied. They collapsed by the hundreds, dying before they could even reach the humans. "Path clear," Youngsu reported. Moving forward, Daeun released her pheromone disruptors. The Vryn communication network fractured instantly. Drones that should have been coordinating their defense instead attacked each other, confused by the corrupted signals filling the air. "Chaos achieved," Daeun confirmed. "They cannot organize a proper defense." Team after team pushed deeper into the ship. They moved like a disease spreading through a body, each group taking a different route toward the central chamber. The Vryn tried to stop them. Warrior breeds emerged from hidden chambers, massive creatures built for killing. The humans killed them faster. Sumin's team encountered a group of Vryn that seemed resistant to the chemical weapons. Instead of fighting, she deployed sonic weapons that broadcast frequencies specifically designed to trigger fear responses in Vryn neural patterns. The warriors stopped advancing. They began to shake, to retreat, to flee in mindless panic. "Psychological barrier established," Sumin reported. "Path secured, 17 kilometers. It should have taken days to fight through." The humans covered it in 9 hours. They left behind corridors filled with thousands of dead Vryn, but not one human corpse. They had taken casualties, wounded, but no deaths. The injured were treated on the move and kept fighting. Finally, Hyunwoo's team reached the central chamber. The doors were massive, made of organic material harder than steel. Warrior breeds the size of tanks guarded them. "Heavy resistance at the objective," Hyunwoo reported. "Engaging." Youngsu set up his largest weapon. It was something the Galactic Council had banned 1,000 years ago. A thermobaric warhead designed to consume all oxygen in a closed space and create a pressure wave that could crush internal organs. Fire in the hole, Young-Soo said calmly. The explosion was not loud. It was a soft whoosh, almost gentle, but every Vryn warrior within 50 meters simply fell over dead, their organs ruptured by the pressure change. Objective door is clear, Young-Soo reported. I am beginning to like this weapon. They breached the door. The chamber beyond was enormous, easily a kilometer across. And at its center sat the Grand Queen. She was the size of a small building, bloated with eggs, surrounded by hundreds of smaller queens and thousands of guard drones. She saw the humans enter. For the first time in Vryn history, a Grand Queen felt fear. She tried to communicate. Chemical signals flooded the chamber, offering surrender, offering alliance, offering anything if they would just spare her. Hyun-Woo walked steadily forward. Galactic Council, he said into an open broadcast. The Vryn network is listening. Every swarm in this sector can hear this moment. Watch carefully. The Grand Queen understood what was happening. She was being executed not just for her death, but as a message. She tried to run despite her massive size. She tried to hide behind her guards. She tried everything. The humans walked through her defenses like they did not exist. Sonic disruptors paralyzed the guards. Chemical weapons dissolved the smaller queens. In less than 10 minutes, the Grand Queen stood alone, unprotected, facing her executioners. Your species threatened worlds under our protection, Hyun-Woo said. His voice was calm, almost gentle. This is the consequence, not war, not negotiation, extinction. He executed the Grand Queen with clinical efficiency. As she died, her death screams transmitted through the entire Vryn neural network. Every swarm, every colony ship, every drone across this sector of the galaxy felt her death. And they felt the message behind it. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was the apex predator. And the Vryn had made a terrible mistake. Objective eliminated, Hyun-Woo reported. All teams extract immediately. The humans ran, not because they were afraid, but because the colony ship was dying. With the Grand Queen dead, the biological systems maintaining it started failing. The structure began to collapse. They made it to their boarding pods with minutes to spare. As the humans escaped, the colony ship tore itself apart. Billions of Vryn died in the vacuum of space. All teams accounted for, the tactical officer reported to Admiral Nari. Casualties, 18 dead, 47 wounded. Mission success. Acceptable, Nari said. She opened a channel to Meridian Station. Counselors, the Vryn Grand Queen is eliminated. The colony ship is destroyed. This sector is clear. In the council chamber, nobody celebrated. They sat in stunned silence watching the sensor feeds show the massive ship breaking apart. How long? Velthar finally asked.
How long until the other Vryn respond?
There are 3 more colony ships in distant sectors, Nari replied. If you want, we can handle them as well. Please, Velthar said quietly. End this threat. Understood, Nari said. Give us 2 weeks. The transmission ended. Plexith stood slowly. 2 weeks? They need only 2 weeks to eliminate 3 more colony ships, to end a threat that has plagued us for years. We asked for soldiers, Velthar said. We got executioners. Now we understand the difference. Over the next 2 weeks, the humans did exactly what they promised. 3 more colony ships were boarded, 3 more Grand Queens executed, 3 more massive vessels destroyed. The Vryn presence in the sector collapsed completely. Within a month, not a single Vryn remained alive in council space. Earth had achieved what every other species said was impossible. They had made an entire species extinct, not defeated, not driven away, extinct. The victory celebration on Meridian Station felt hollow. Medals were awarded to the human forces. Admiral Nari received the council's highest honor. Hyun-Woo and his ghost company were recognized as heroes, but everyone was afraid. They smiled and clapped and gave speeches about gratitude and friendship. But underneath they were terrified, because they had seen what humans could do when they decided to end something. In a private meeting, Velthar confronted Ambassador Taemin with the question everyone was thinking. Could you do to us what you did to the Vryn? Taemin did not lie. Yes, we have contingency plans for every species in the council. We know your weaknesses. We know how to eliminate you if we must. Then why do you not conquer us? Plexith demanded. You are clearly the most powerful species here. Because we do not want to, Taemin said simply. Humans learned a hard lesson over our history. Winning through violence is easy. Building something worth protecting is hard. We prefer peace. News spread through the Galactic Council like wildfire. 3 more colonies saved. Then 5 more. Then 12. Every time the Vryn attacked, the humans responded. And every time the result was the same. Total extinction of every Vryn in the target area. The Council reconvened in emergency session. This time the atmosphere was different. Not desperate. Afraid. High Counselor Velthar stood at the center platform, but he looked smaller somehow. The human forces have achieved remarkable success, he said carefully. In 3 weeks they have eliminated Vryn swarms from 19 colony worlds. How many human casualties? A counselor asked. None, Velthar said quietly. 0 human deaths, 14 wounded, all returned to active duty within days. The chamber filled with uncomfortable whispers. 0 deaths while killing millions of Vryn? That was not just unusual. That was impossible. Unless, perhaps we should review Earth's admission records, Counselor Plexith suggested. He was a Thorian, known for careful thinking. I believe we may have overlooked certain details. The Council database appeared on the holographic display, Earth's application for membership. Everyone had read it before, but nobody had looked closely. They had been so focused on human trade capabilities and cultural offerings that they missed the warnings hidden in plain sight. Section 7, Plexith said, Military Doctrine. Earth refused to sign the Proportional Response Treaty. Many species have reservations about specific treaties. Velthar said. Earth refused to sign any weapons limitation treaties, Plexith continued. The chemical weapons ban, the biological agent restriction, the AI combat protocol, all refused. They said it was cultural, another counselor protested. Yes, Plexith agreed. And we did not ask what that culture was. We assumed peaceful. We were wrong. An aide entered the chamber and whispered to Velthar. The High Counselor's face went pale. There is someone here from Earth, Velthar announced. A scholar named Jae Sung. He requests permission to address the Council about human military capabilities. Let him in, Plexith said. I want to understand what we have unleashed. Jae Sung entered the chamber a few minutes later. He looked harmless. Middle-aged, slight build, wearing simple clothes and carrying a data pad. He smiled politely at the assembled aliens. Honorable Council members, he said with a small bow. Thank you for seeing me. I am here to provide support to our military forces, and to answer any questions you might have about Earth's approach to warfare. Why does your approach work so well? Velthar asked bluntly. How can 200 humans do what 40,000 of our soldiers could not? Because we see the problem differently, Jae Sung said. He activated his datapad and images appeared on the display. When you see the Vryn, what do you see? An enemy, someone said. Exactly, Jae Sung nodded. You see an enemy to be fought. We see a problem to be solved. He pulled up a schematic of Vryn biology. The Vryn are not our enemies. They are just an obstacle, like a disease. You do not fight a disease. You cure it. They are living beings, a counselor objected. Not diseases, are they? Jae Sung asked mildly. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They exist only to consume and reproduce. From a biological standpoint, they function exactly like a virus or a cancer, so we treat them that way. Complete elimination. No survivors. No possibility of regrowth. The council was silent, horrified by the casual way Jae Sung spoke about genocide. How long has Earth been doing this? Plexith asked. This execution approach? Oh, thousands of years, Jae Sung said cheerfully. Earth's history is not peaceful, you see. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. Wars that killed hundreds of millions. Weapons that could end all life on the planet. We developed such efficient methods of killing that we scared ourselves. He smiled sadly. So we made rules. We banned certain weapons. We agreed not to use our worst technologies on each other anymore. Then you are peaceful, Velthar said hopefully. No, Jae Sung corrected. We are controlled. There is a difference. We know how to kill efficiently. We simply choose not to use those methods on other humans anymore. But when faced with an external threat, when something threatens our species or our allies, he shrugged. We remember all the lessons we learned, all the weapons we developed, all the tactics we perfected through millennia of warfare. He pulled up more images. Chemical weapons, biological agents, nuclear devices, nanoscale weapons, AI-guided kill drones. psychological warfare techniques. The list went on and on. Each one was something the Galactic Council had banned centuries ago as too horrible to use. We do not use most of these anymore, Jae-sung assured them. We found more precise methods. But the knowledge remains. The capability remains. And when necessary, we deploy it without hesitation. This is monstrous, someone whispered, is it? Jae-sung asked. The Vrin have killed billions across the galaxy. They show no mercy, no remorse, no possibility of coexistence. We are stopping them. We are saving your worlds, your people, your children. Does it matter how we do it? Before anyone could answer, alarms started ringing. A massive sensor contact had appeared at the edge of the system. Vrin colony ship, the sensor operator reported, his voice shaking. It is enormous. Bigger than anything we have seen. It must contain billions of drones. The council chamber descended into panic. A full colony ship? That was the Vrin's ultimate weapon. It contained not just soldiers but entire breeding populations. If it reached the galactic core, it could spawn swarms that would overwhelm every defense. Admiral Nari chose that moment to arrive. She walked into the chamber without asking permission, accompanied by Commander Ji-woo. Both wore crisp military uniforms with insignia that seemed to have too many medals. Counselors, Nari said formally. I am Admiral Nari of Earth's Defense Fleet. I arrived 3 hours ago with reinforcements. How many ships? Felthar asked desperately. 50 warships, Nari replied, and 5,000 additional specialists, 50 ships. It sounded impressive until you remembered the colony ship sensors showed. That massive vessel would take hundreds of ships to stop. Maybe thousands. That will not be enough, Plexith said quietly. It will, Nari said with absolute confidence. The colony ship contains the Vrin Grand Queen. She is the source of all swarms in this region. Eliminate her and the entire Vrin presence in this part of the galaxy collapses. How do you plan to eliminate her? Velthar asked. That ship is massive. It would take weeks to breach even with overwhelming force. We are not going to breach it from the outside, Nari said. We are going to board it. Walk right in, find the Grand Queen, and execute her. The council stared at her in disbelief. That is suicide, Krathik said. He had been sitting quietly in the corner, but now he stood. I have seen what your soldiers can do. They are impressive. But that ship contains billions of Vrin. Even executioners have limits, do they? Ji-woo asked quietly. It was the first time she had spoken. General Krathix, you have seen humans eliminate 19 swarms. Did you see limits? That was different. Those were scattered forces. Numbers do not matter, Ji-woo said. Only efficiency. We will enter that ship with 600 personnel. We will locate the Grand Queen. We will kill her and everyone protecting her. Then we will leave. Total operation time, approximately 18 hours. And if you fail? Velthar asked. Nari smiled. It was not a warm smile. Then we detonate the ship with nuclear devices. Every Vrin aboard dies. Either way, the threat is eliminated. You would sacrifice your own people. If necessary, Nari said simply. But it will not be necessary. Our people are very good at their jobs. She turned to address the entire council. Honorable members, you asked Earth for help. We answered. Now you are learning what that means. We do not fight clean. We do not fight fair. We fight to win, completely and permanently. The Vrin will be extinct soon. Then you will have peace, and at what cost? Plexith asked quietly. Nari looked at him for a long moment. The cost is that you now know what humans are capable of. You will remember this. You will fear us just a little. But you will also know that we keep our word. When we agree to protect something, we do it absolutely. She nodded to Jae-sung. The scholar will remain here to answer your questions. Commander Ji-woo will coordinate with your forces. I am taking the fleet to intercept the colony ship. She paused at the door. I suggest you monitor the operation. It will be educational. After the humans left, the council sat in stunned silence. What have we done? Someone finally asked. We asked for help, Velthar said. And we got it. Now we have to live with the consequences. Are they our saviors or our future nightmare? Plexith wondered aloud. Both, the old sergeant said from his position near Krathix. They are both. That is what makes them so dangerous and so valuable. Outside, the human fleet was already moving toward the colony ship. Admiral Nari stood on her ship's bridge looking at the massive Vrin vessel on the display. Ready the boarding teams, she ordered. Full execution protocol. No survivors. Her officers acknowledged the orders. They had done this before. Not against the Vrin specifically, but against other threats. Humans knew how to end things. It was one of their oldest and most perfected skills. The galaxy was about to see that skill demonstrated on the largest scale yet. Theron 5 was dying. The colony's emergency broadcast showed screaming civilians running through the streets while Vryn drones swarmed over buildings. The insects were everywhere, their chittering filling the air like a nightmare chorus. In Meridian Station's command center, Krathix and his officers watched the sensor feeds with growing horror. The Vryn had surrounded the main settlement. Their numbers were overwhelming. 500,000 at least, maybe more. The human ship is approaching the planet, the sensor operator reported. They are not slowing down. What? Krathix leaned forward. That is suicide. If they enter atmosphere at that speed, they will burn up. But the black ship did not burn. It punched through the atmosphere like a bullet, heat shields glowing white-hot. At the last possible moment, it pulled up and swept over the colony at incredible speed. Something dropped from its hull. What was that? An officer asked. Scanning, the operator said. Her face went pale. 200 individual drop pods. They are landing in the middle of the swarm. Those fools, Krathix whispered. They just killed themselves. On the planet's surface, Hyunwoo's pod hit the ground with a thunderous crash. The door exploded outward and he stepped into hell. Vryn drones surrounded him, their mandibles clicking, their multiple eyes reflecting the burning buildings. There were hundreds of them, just in his immediate area. Hyunwoo activated his weapon. It did not sound like a plasma rifle or a kinetic gun. It made a deep resonating hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The nearest Vryn stopped moving. They began to shake, their legs folding beneath them. Sonic disruptor active, Hyunwoo said into his comm. Hostile neural patterns disrupted in immediate area. All around the colony, 200 humans emerged from their pods. They did not form defensive positions. They did not wait for support. They moved immediately into the swarm. Dayun landed on top of a building that the Vryn had converted into a nest. She pulled out a small device and inserted it into the wall. Pheromone broadcaster installed, she reported. Initiating corruption sequence. The device began emitting chemical signals. But these were not natural Vryn pheromones. They were distorted, wrong, terrifying. The Vryn inside the building suddenly turned on each other, mandibles snapping, tearing at their own hivemates in confused panic. Confirmed effective, Dayun said calmly. The Vryn cannot tell friend from foe anymore, broadcasting the corruption pattern to all units. Young-Soo set up his heavy weapon in the colony's central square. Vryn drones rushed toward him in a massive wave, thousands of them flowing like a dark river. He did not panic. He did not run. He waited until they were close, so close he could see the hunger in their compound eyes. Then he fired. The weapon did not shoot bullets or plasma. It launched something that looked like a silver mist. When it touched the Vryn, they began to scream. Their exoskeletons started dissolving, melting away as the nanoscale acid ate through their biology. Chemical weapon deployed, Young-Soo said cheerfully. Area denial established. They are going to need to find another way around. But there was no way around. Other humans had set up similar positions at every approach. The Vryn were being herded, channeled, forced into kill zones where they died by the thousands. Suman moved through the colony with a small team, searching for the Vryn breeding chambers. She found one beneath a collapsed warehouse. Hundreds of eggs sat in carefully tended rows, future generations of the swarm. She placed charges methodically around the chamber. Not explosive charges, something else. Thermobaric devices ready, she reported. Breeding chamber will be sterilized. When the charges detonated, the temperature inside the chamber reached levels hot enough to melt steel. Every egg, every larva, every trace of Vryn reproductive material turned to ash in seconds. Chamber 1 eliminated, Suman said, moving to Chamber 2. On Meridian Station, the command center had gone completely silent. Everyone stared at the sensor feeds in disbelief. The Vryn numbers were dropping. Not slowly, not gradually. They were plummeting like a rock thrown off a cliff. This is impossible, someone whispered. The sensors showed the humans moving through the swarm like ghosts. They did not fight the way soldiers fought. There were no battle lines, no formations, no prolonged firefights. The humans would appear, use their strange weapons, and the Vryn would simply die. Then the humans would move on to the next target. They are hunting them, the old sergeant said. Not fighting, hunting. Hyunwoo reached the primary hive at the colony's center. The Vryn queen sat inside, massive and bloated with eggs. She was protected by hundreds of warrior drones, each one larger and more dangerous than the regular swarm. He walked straight toward them. The warriors charged. He activated 3 different weapons simultaneously: sonic disruptors to paralyze them, chemical sprays to blind them, and a simple, efficient blade for the ones that got close. Not one warrior touched him. They fell around him like wheat before a scythe, their bodies piling up as he moved steadily forward. The queen realized her danger. She tried to retreat deeper into the hive, but Daun had already infiltrated from another entrance. The queen found herself trapped between 2 humans. "Galactic Council," Hyunwoo said calmly into an open broadcast channel. "This message is for the Vrin network. Watch carefully." He looked at the queen. She was intelligent enough to understand what was about to happen. She tried to communicate, releasing desperate chemical signals that meant surrender, that meant retreat. Hyunwoo ignored them all. "Your species made a mistake," he said. "You attacked worlds under our protection. There is no negotiation. This is not war. This is extermination." He executed the queen with cold efficiency. As she died, her death screams transmitted through every Vrin on the planet. The neural connection that held the swarm together shattered. The drones lost coordination. They began attacking each other, fleeing in random directions, collapsing in confused heaps. The humans hunted them down systematically, every single one. They left nothing alive, nothing that could regrow, nothing that could rebuild. When they finished, Theron 5 was silent except for the sound of fires burning and human footsteps on empty streets. "Colony secured," Hyunwoo reported to Meridian Station. "0 human casualties. All hostile forces eliminated. Ready for extraction and next assignment." In the command center, nobody spoke. The sensor data was clear. In less than 12 hours, 200 humans had killed 500,000 Vrin. Not defeated them. Not driven them back. Killed every single one. Krathix's hands were shaking. "What are they?" He asked nobody in particular. The old sergeant answered anyway. "They are what happens when a species spends thousands of years learning how to kill efficiently. They are not soldiers. They are exactly what they said they were. Executioners." The human ship returned to orbit, collected its forces, and docked at Meridian Station exactly on schedule. Hyunwoo walked back into the command center like he had just completed a routine exercise. "Theron 5 is secure," he reported. "The civilian population can return. The colony infrastructure is intact. We eliminated only the Vrin." "How?" Krathix asked. His voice sounded hollow. "How did you do that?" "We did what was necessary," Hyunwoo said. "We studied the enemy. We identified their weaknesses. We exploited those weaknesses without mercy or hesitation. Then we eliminated the threat completely." "That was not battle," Krathix said. "That was execution," Hyunwoo finished. "Yes, that is what executioners do." Another alert flashed on the tactical display. 3 more Vrin swarms had been detected attacking different colonies. Krathix stared at the alerts, then at Hyunwoo. "Can you handle 3 colonies at once?" he asked quietly. "Yes," Hyunwoo said. "But it will take longer. Perhaps 2 days instead of 12 hours. 2 days, to eliminate 3 separate Vrin swarms. Krathix had thought it would take weeks with his entire army. The humans were saying they could do it in days with 200 people. "Do it," Krathix ordered. He felt like he was unleashing something terrible. Something that might be worse than the Vrin themselves. But they were desperate. "Save those colonies." "Understood," Hyunwoo said. He turned to leave, then paused. "General, you should start preparing." "Preparing for what?" "More work," Hyunwoo said. "Once the Vrin realize what is happening to their swarms, they will respond. They will send everything they have. Their colony ships, their grand queens, all of it. And?" Krathix asked. "And we will kill them all," Hyunwoo said simply. "Every last one. That is what you asked for when you requested Earth's help. Complete elimination of the threat. You just did not understand what that meant yet." He walked out, his footsteps echoing in the silent command center. Krathix sat down heavily in his command chair. Around him, his officers whispered in shock and fear. They had thought the Vrin were the monsters. They had thought the Vrin were the nightmare. They were wrong. Humanity was the nightmare, and the galaxy had just invited them to demonstrate why. The human ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel exactly on schedule. Meridian Station's sensors detected it immediately, and alarms started ringing across the command center. "Contact confirmed. the sensor operator announced. One vessel, human designation. It's small. General Krathix, a massive warrior from the Vraxian species, stomped over to the display. He had commanded military forces for 30 years. He had fought in 7 major conflicts. He knew what a proper military transport looked like. This was not it. The human ship was maybe a third of the size he expected. It was painted matte black with no markings, no insignia, nothing that identified it as a military vessel. It moved through space silently like a predator stalking prey. That is their troop carrier? Krathix asked in disbelief. Confirmed, General, the operator said. They are requesting docking permission at Base 7. Grant it, Krathix said. And send security to meet them. I want to see what Earth considers military support. 20 minutes later, the docking clamps engaged with a heavy thud. The airlock doors opened. Krathix stood waiting with an honor guard of 50 soldiers, all armed and in full ceremonial armor. What walked out of that ship made Krathix's blood run cold, though he could not explain why. 200 humans in dark gray uniforms filed out in perfect silence. They moved like water, smooth and coordinated. No talking, no wasted motion. Each one carried a large pack and strange weapons that Krathix did not recognize. At the front walked a human with a scarred face and cold eyes. He stopped in front of Krathix and gave a slight nod. Captain Hyunwoo, the human said, Ghost Company. Reporting as ordered. I am General Krathix, the alien replied, trying to sound authoritative. I command the defense forces for this sector. Understood, Hyunwoo said simply. Krathix waited for more. Military protocol usually involves salutes, formal greetings, and exchanges of credentials. The human just stood there waiting. Is this all of you? Krathix finally asked. 200 specialists, Hyunwoo confirmed. As promised. 200, Krathix repeated. He felt anger rising in his chest. The Council requested military support and Earth sends 200 people? We have 40,000 soldiers stationed on this base alone. The Vrin number in the billions. Yes, Hyunwoo said. His expression did not change at all. 200 is enough. Several of the alien honor guard laughed. They could not help it. The idea was absurd. 200 against billions? Hyunwoo did not react to the laughter. Neither did any of his soldiers. They just stood there, silent and still. A woman stepped forward from the human ranks. She was smaller than Hyunwoo, with sharp eyes and a slight smile. Lieutenant Daun, she said. Intelligence and infiltration. Where should we set up our equipment? You can use Barracks Section C, Krathix said dismissively. It is in the reserve area. The reserve area, Hyunwoo repeated. You are putting us in reserve? What else would I do with 200 soldiers? Krathix snapped. I have entire divisions to deploy. You will remain on standby until needed. Understood, Hyunwoo said again. We will be ready when you call. The humans filed past the honor guard toward the barracks. As they walked, several alien soldiers whispered to each other. That is it? Earth sends a joke. We are doomed. But one old alien sergeant, a veteran of many battles, watched the humans differently. He noticed how they moved, how they scanned every corridor, every exit, every potential threat. He noticed that several of them had already identified the station's security cameras and weapon placements. He noticed that not one of them had smiled or showed any emotion at all. General, the sergeant said quietly to Krathix, those are not regular soldiers. What do you mean? Krathix asked. I do not know, the sergeant admitted, but something is wrong about them. The way they move, the way they watch everything. They remind me of, he trailed off. Of what? Hunters, the sergeant said. They move like hunters. Krathix dismissed the concern. He had a war to plan and no time for superstition. In Barracks Section C, the humans unpacked their equipment. Alien technical officers had been assigned to observe and catalog human military capabilities. What they saw confused them. A large human named Youngsu was assembling a weapon, but it did not look like any weapon in the Galactic database. The tech officer approached carefully. Excuse me, the alien said. What is that device? Youngsu looked up with a friendly smile. Heavy ordnance package, he said. But do not worry about it. You probably will not see it in action. Why not? Because if I am using this, Youngsu said, his smile not reaching his eyes, it means something went very, very wrong. Another alien officer was watching Da-Un set up strange electronic equipment. What is this for? he asked. Information warfare, Doan replied. She was running through files on her display. Pages of alien biology and psychology scrolling past at incredible speed. Understanding the enemy. Finding weaknesses. Exploiting them. The Vryn have no weaknesses, the officer said. We have studied them for months. Everything has weaknesses, Dayun said. You just have not looked in the right places yet. She pulled up a schematic of Vryn biology. For example, did you know their communication relies on specific pheromone patterns, and that those patterns can be artificially replicated and corrupted? The officer stared at the display. How do you know this? We only sent the council our data 3 days ago. We know, Dayun said simply, not looking up from her work. A female human with medical insignia was organizing supplies. Suman had set up a small field hospital in the corner of the barracks. But along with medical equipment, she had psychology textbooks, chemical formularies, and something that looked disturbingly like weapons. You are a medic? An alien nurse asked. Combat medic, Suman confirmed. I keep our people alive. And the other equipment? Sometimes keeping your people alive means making the enemy too terrified to fight, Suman said matter-of-factly. Psychological warfare. Fear is a useful tool. The alien nurse backed away slowly. By the end of the first day, reports were flooding into Krathix's office. The humans were strange. Their weapons were unidentified. Their tactics seemed wrong. They did not train like soldiers. They did not socialize with the other forces. They just waited, silent and ready. What are they waiting for? Krathix asked his advisors. Nobody had an answer. The answer came 2 days later. A Vryn swarm attacked the colony on Theron 5. It was a small world, only 2 million inhabitants, but it was strategically important. Krathix immediately mobilized 5 divisions to respond. Estimated arrival time, 6 hours, the tactical officer reported. Casualties will be heavy, but we can evacuate most of the civilians if we hurry. Yunwu appeared in the command center. He had not been summoned. He just walked in as if he belonged there. We will handle Theron 5, he said. Krathix turned to stare at him. You will do what? Ghost Company will handle the colony defense, Hyunwoo repeated. Cancel your troop deployment. That is insane, Krathix said. There are at least 500,000 Vryn on that planet. You have 200 people. Yes, Hyunwoo said. It should be enough. Should be? Krathix roared. You will all die. No, Hyunwoo said calmly. We will not. Give us 12 hours. 12 hours? Krathix could not believe what he was hearing. It would take my forces 6 hours just to reach the planet. We are faster, Hyunwoo said. He turned to leave, then paused. General, a piece of advice. Keep your forces away from Theron 5 for the next 12 hours. What we are about to do. Your soldiers do not need to see it. Before Krathix could respond, Hyunwoo was gone. The command center doors closed behind him. Sir? The tactical officer asked. Should we stop them? Krathix was silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, let them go. If they want to commit suicide, that is their choice. But even as he said it, he remembered the old sergeant's words. Hunters. They moved like hunters. Track them, Krathix ordered. I want full sensor coverage of Theron 5. I want to know exactly what happens. In Bay 7, the human ship powered up. All 200 humans boarded in less than 3 minutes. The ship launched and entered FTL immediately. In the command center, everyone waited. The sensors stayed locked on Theron 5. And General Krathix had the terrible feeling that he was about to witness something that would change his understanding of warfare forever. He was absolutely right. The emergency lights flashed red across the council chamber. 17 alien species sat in their designated seats, and every single one of them looked afraid. High Counselor Velthar stood at the center platform, his 6 arms trembling slightly as he pulled up the latest reports on the holographic display. 3 more worlds, he said, his voice barely steady. Theron 5, Mandara Colony, and New Proxima, all gone in less than 10 days. The chamber filled with frightened whispers. Ambassador Taemin sat quietly in the human delegation section, watching the aliens panic. Next to him, Commander Jiwoo checked her tactical display, her face showing no emotion at all. The Vryn swarm is moving faster than we predicted, Velthar continued. Our defense forces have failed to stop them. Every species has sent their peacekeepers, their soldiers, their defense fleets. Nothing works. The Vryn do not stop. They do not negotiate. They only consume and multiply. A counselor from the Thorian species stood up. What about the chemical weapons? The orbital strikes? We tried everything, Velthar said. The Vryn adapt too quickly. When we poison them, they develop immunity within hours. When we bomb their hives, they just dig deeper. When we attack their ships, 10 more appear. He paused, looking around the chamber. We are losing this war. The silence that followed was heavy with despair. Some of the alien counselors had tears running down their faces. Others stared at the floor, unable to look at the casualty numbers on the display. Velthar turned slowly toward the human section. His large eyes fixed on Taemin. The council must consider all options, he said carefully. Humanity is our newest member. You have been quiet during these debates. Taemin stood up slowly. He was shorter than most of the aliens in the room, but something about the way he moved made several counselors lean back in their seats. We have been listening, Taemin said simply. And, Velthar asked, what does Earth think about our situation? We think you are in serious trouble, Taemin replied. His tone was polite but matter-of-fact. Yes, we know that, Velthar said, frustration creeping into his voice. The question is what humanity intends to do about it. You are part of this council. The Vryn will reach your worlds eventually, too. Taemin nodded. That is true. Then will Earth help? Another counselor shouted. Will you send forces? The entire chamber went quiet, waiting for the human response. Taemin looked at Jiwoo. She gave him a small nod. The council is asking for soldiers, Taemin said slowly, making sure every word was clear.
Is that correct?
Yes, Velthar said. We need soldiers, fighters, anyone who can help stop the Vryn before they consume the entire galaxy. Taemin was quiet for a long moment. We do not have soldiers available to send, he finally said. The chamber exploded with angry shouts. Aliens jumped to their feet, their voices overlapping in rage and disbelief. How dare you? Someone screamed. We welcomed you to the council. You would let us die? Velthar raised all 6 arms, calling for silence. When the noise died down, he stared at Taemin with a mix of anger and desperation. Humanity refuses to help in our darkest hour? I did not say we refuse to help, Taemin replied calmly. I said we do not have soldiers available. He paused. However, we can send executioners. The translation system struggled with the word. Several aliens looked confused. Executioners? What did that mean? Was it a rank? A type of soldier? I do not understand the difference, Velthar said. You will, Jiwoo said quietly from her seat. It was the first time she had spoken during the entire session. Velthar looked between the 2 humans. He was desperate. His people were dying. Every species in the council was losing colonies, losing families, losing hope. What choice did he have? Very well, Velthar said. Earth will send executioners. How many can you provide? Enough, Taemin said. When? 3 standard cycles. They will arrive at Meridian Station. 3 cycles? Velthar said. That is very fast. How many ships will you send? 1, Taemin replied. The council chamber filled with nervous laughter. 1 ship? Against an enemy that had destroyed entire fleets? It sounded like a joke, but Taemin was not smiling. Neither was Jiwoo. They both looked completely serious. 1 ship will be enough, Taemin repeated. Give us the coordinates from Meridian Station. Our specialists will meet your forces there. Velthar wanted to argue. He wanted to demand more. But the humans had at least agreed to help, which was more than he had hoped for a moment ago. He transmitted the station coordinates to the human delegation. The Council thanks Earth for its support, Velthar said formally, though his voice was full of doubt. The session ended shortly after. As the aliens filed out talking in worried clusters, Taemin and Jiwoo remained in their seats. They have no idea, Jiwoo said softly. No, Taemin agreed. They asked for soldiers to fight the Vryn. We are sending executioners to end them. Do you think they understand what that means? Taemin shook his head. Not yet, but they will learn quickly. Jiwoo pulled up a secure communication channel to Earth. Should I send the activation codes? Yes, Taemin said. Tell them the galaxy has a pest problem. Send the Ghost Company. Ghost Company, Jiwoo repeated, typing in the commands. That seems excessive for bugs. The Vryn are not just bugs, Taemin said. They are an extinction-level threat. The Council does not know how to handle extinction-level threats. He stood up, straightening his jacket. But we do. We have practice, the message was sent. Somewhere on Earth, in a facility that did not appear on any maps, 200 soldiers received their orders. They would pack their gear, board their ship, and travel to Meridian Station. They would bring weapons the galaxy had never seen. They would use tactics the aliens could not imagine. And they would do what humans had always done when faced with an enemy that threatened everything they cared about. They would not fight. They would not defend. They would exterminate. As Taman and Jiwoo left the council chamber, a young Thorian aide approached them nervously. "Ambassador," the aide said, "may I ask a question?" "Of course," Taman said. "What exactly is the difference between a soldier and an executioner?" Taman stopped walking. He looked at the young alien for a long moment. "A soldier fights battles," he said quietly. "An executioner ends threats permanently." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. The council asked for help. They should be careful what they wish for. The aide watched the two humans walk away, a cold feeling spreading through his chest. Something about the way they moved, the way they spoke, felt wrong. They were too calm, too confident. He had a terrible feeling that the galaxy was about to learn something about humanity that it would never forget. And he was absolutely right.